Patrick, when you were at Costco, one of the things that you were able to do was introduce some Australian food manufacturers into the Costco global food supply. Just explain how you did that.
You know, we developed items here with the local manufacturers. In fact, that's how I met Patrick. He was a craft rep back in the day, and we negotiated on Vegemite. And our Vegemite didn't take off as an overseas success, but there's lots of other items that we did develop. And they're great sellers here in this country, better packaging, larger sizes, unique products in many ways. And we're able to take those products and show them to our cousins in Asia and the United States and Europe and introduce those products into those markets. Now, what happens when you do that? Well, first of all, the manufacturer all of a sudden has this 25 million people population to supply to. Now they have 1 billion people to supply to, so they've got a greater scope to buy and equip their business. But also, as we manufacture longer production lines, you can lower the cost to consumers here in this country as well. So it's been a big success through Costco, and I understand Aldi's doing a very similar process as well. Okay,
so the answer to actually try to escape the clutches of the two big supermarket giants here in Australia is for small family-owned food manufacturers in particular, and growers, to actually try and export, to find ways. And it's trying to find the conduit by which they can export. That's the key.
That's the key. And we need to get together as a country, government and private industry, and figure out ways we can help people scale up, if you like, and introduce their products to around the world. Because Aussies we're from all over the world. We have every culture in the world here making things. We have the environment. We can grow anything here, from north to south, east to west, no problem at all. Now it's a matter of getting all that together in one central planned business model. Let's go and export food, and let's grow the business. Grow the business overseas to 200 billion. You're creating thousands and thousands of jobs. It's a very profitable industry for all concerned, and it's the right thing to do.
Okay, so that seems naturally what Australia should do, but it's not doing it. Is government or bureaucracy one of the handbrakes to this right now?
Absolutely, Ross. We've got so many different departments. If you'd like to talk about export, it's DFATS, Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. The food manufacturing sector sits in with the Industry Minister, Ed Husak. If you want to look at agriculture, it's with Murray Watt. So we don't have a coordinated approach. What we do need is a national strategy for food and agri, and we don't have it at the moment in this country. What we'd like to do is coordinate some of the initiatives, the great initiatives that are happening in Queensland, are happening in South Australia with Food SA. There's some incredible regional activations that are helping growers in those areas. But we need to do it at a national level. Queensland have a wonderful TIQ, the Queensland Investment Commission have a wonderful, Trade Commission have a wonderful relationship with our friends in Japan selling watermelons. But we also have growers down south that don't have that relationship, but we're not tapping into when the growing season is not favourable in Queensland. We can actually grow and supply the Japanese throughout the whole year. That's a really good example of if we had a coordinated approach, we'd be able to really unlock some of this growth potential at a national level, which we haven't been able to in the past.
Because one of the interesting things about food is if you are a grower, then you're creating a raw material, which has its value.
That's right.
But as soon as you add value to that, like any form of commodity, you make many, many times the value by producing food products, don't you?
That's right. And we use the example of olive on a tree, right? It's an agricultural, under the Agricultural Ministry. So you pick an olive, the Agriculture Ministry is looking after that. The health and safety of it is by FRANZ and the Health Department. But you give it to an olive squeezer, squeezes the oil out, becomes part of the manufacturing, and if you want to send it overseas, it's the Department of Trade. So it's just such a complicated business. You know, sometimes it's hard to understand how these growers navigate that. But that's what we want to do. You take the olive from the tree, you squeeze it into oil. You've got olive oil, which is a very highly sought after commodity around the world currently, and we can earn a lot of money and provide a lot of jobs by coordinating a coordinated approach by the government.
Because I remember you once telling me a story about a shortage of butter, or butter prices were going up in the United States at Costco.
Yeah.
And your global chief executive saying, has anybody got any butter? And you said, yeah, how much do you want? And I can get you butter. And all of a sudden, an Australian manufacturer starts to sell into America where they'd never been before.
Yep.
These are the types of stories
Yep.
that really have got to be replicated many times over.
Yeah, we like I said, we can grow anything here, but we've got to get the information to all the people in the business. You know, from mum and dad who are tirelessly working 7 days a week. We've got to get them involved in it. We've got to get the information from them, what the government can do for them as well. So part of our first tasks for our organisation is to survey food manufacturers in Australia and find out what they need, because no one's ever asked them. We've got all these academic studies from the CSIRO to the Food and Grocery Council telling them what they should have, but no one's asking the food growers what they need in terms of resources, in terms of contacts, in terms of an organisational structure that they can work with. So that's one of the things we're proposing right off the bat.
So Patrick, one interesting aspect of this, if a food manufacturer has a market of 27 million, high energy prices, high wages we talked about before, can they actually compete when they go overseas, or do they need to scale up there? And is that where they need help from government?
They need to scale up. The Europeans and other countries around the world have been subsidising their manufacturing, food manufacturing, for years. The Europeans have been doing it. And then you're seeing in Australia cheaper imported European products hit the supermarket shelves.
Sometimes being dumped in the famous case of Italian tomatoes over the years.
Correct. So what we're looking at doing is incentivising and upscaling. We talk about the productivity in this country declining. We want to increase the productivity. We want to energise and modernise the food manufacturing. It's the largest manufacturing sector in the country. When you add on fruit and veg, it's $150 billion, and we don't have a strategy to modernise it, to create jobs, as Patrick said, to incentivise. Korea has 50 million people. They import 75% of their food. Just imagine that, 50 million people. And we don't have an organic standard legislated. So I have organic growers, I have organic food manufacturers wanting to export to Korea, but we can't because we haven't had a legislated organic standard in this country. There is billions of dollars of export, value-added export product available in this country if we just got a strategy together, get people in one room, do a legislated standard, and we can start exporting significantly larger value-added goods to the world.
Patrick, many thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Russ.
Thank you.